Hey guys, Sableye VGC here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the core of Groudon Yveltal, kind of building a couple concepts here, and just getting into some battles with it, just to test things out. Now, this core I feel saw a lot of usage early on in the format, like everybody was like, oh, Yveldon's coming back, it's really cool, and I think it's still underused quite a bit. Like, it fell off right after that. It saw a little bit of success and then just kind of died off. I think it might not be a bad time to try and get it back into the meta. I think it's a decent core. We're going to explore it right now and just got to build a few teams here. I've got this one that you guys can see on your screen, and I do have a second version. Just similar stuff with a little bit of a different approach to it. We'll obviously be playing with this one though, so if you guys want to skip straight to the battles, just go ahead and the timestamp will be on the screen. But without further ado, let's start with the Groudon, guys. Citrus Berry on Groudon, I think, is one of the best items. I considered, what's the White Herb, or Lumberry as well. Lumberry, there's not enough right now. Not enough of a reason to be so scared of, like, burns yet. I think Will-O-Wisp is starting to pick up in usage, just because of all the Thunders and all the Zacian, so maybe Lumberry could be an adaptation in the future. But I just think having the extra health with the Citrus Berry is just too nice to pass up on, right? The 156 Adamant, it just felt like a good number to hit to me. The main thing here is the bulk, and the 21260 is for Kyogre. I believe the calc, I'll have it somewhere on the screen exactly, is for the Kyogre water max geyser in the sun. We survived that as long as they're not Mystic Water, and even then I think it's a roll anyways, but I'll put some calcs up on the screen for that. I don't remember the exact calc I was going for with that. The speed is to outpace Thunderous when we're at +1. Nothing too crazy there. The Yveltal, this one's a little different. I wanted a more offensive Yveltal. I just felt like being slow and bulky with this Yveltal wasn't worth it here. Like, just being AV didn't seem right, you know? I just felt like getting the offense out of Yveltal here is a lot better. So we went with that, and I have Heat Wave. This 116 is Heat Wave in the sun. Sorry, not Heat Wave, but Max Flare in the sun from this Yveltal. We'll be able to pick up a Zacian, which I think is really, really nice. Like, very easily, too. As long as we're in the sun, we're dropping the Zacian, so I think that's something that I really, really wanted with this team. The 244 speed, I wanted to outpace Urshifu. Like I said, I'm not slow, I'm not bulky as bulky as I used to be. So definitely wanted to have the speed to outpace Urshifu there. The defensive investment is obviously for that Behemoth Blade and those play roughs from Zacian. I believe with the Intimidate coming in onto a from a Jolly Zacian, we're not going to have too many troubles living that. It'll be, I think it's like a 6.3% chance or a 12% chance for us to die as long as the Zacian's intimidated, which is really, really solid. Obviously, if they're adamant, it changes that calc, but it was too much to commit to try and live the adamant one. Venusaur, literally nothing crazy here, guys. This is Leaf Storm Weather Ball because we're in the sun. We can switch in Groudon, become faster than Zacian, and I think when you have Venusaur beside Groudon, that's what you want on this team, right? That's what you want on this court, to be able to have that pressure. If I can just be faster, yes, there's no Sleep Powder, which I'm actually going to change right now. That is a mistake. We don't need Protect. I mean, it would be cool to not have Protect, you know, but Sleep Powder is the play, guys. Don't... I just think it's too good to not have, right? I don't think you spam Sleep Powders, but I think you go in and you say, hey, if I'm in a bad spot, Sleep Powder can get me out of it. Earth Power is probably the move in question. I don't know if you really need it all that much. I feel like Helping Hand could be really, really cool. For right now, we're going to stick with Earth Power on the pace, but if you guys wanted to make a change to Earth Power to Helping Hand, I could definitely see that becoming an option. I just don't know if I figured right now, not early format, but early build, I don't know, I feel like Helping Hand is a build that you add as you try to fine-tune the build, you know, but an early build like this, I just think having the damage option is nice. So I went with Earth Power. Helping Hand, like I said, is another option. Sludge Bomb I don't think makes any sense. We have our Yveltal outpacing Venusaur, so it's not like we can max Ooze into boosting the Yveltal. It just doesn't, we're not boosting we're boosting literally nothing else. So on to Thunderous, guys. Your standard Thundy. This was AV Thundy, so I should probably change Foul Play to Protect. We already have two other Dark types. I am going to make that adjustment right now. Basically, the spread here, max speed, because you need to be able to potentially speed tie other Thundys. There's no reason to be slower purposely when you can potentially put yourself in so many better scenarios just by winning a speed tie. Why take that away from yourself? Lumberry, just because AV Focus AV was taken, which is the main item I like to use on Thundy. So, and then the defensive investment is basically for Behemoth Blade, so that way Incineroar comes in, we tank 2 Behemoth Blades, and we'll die to the third one. But that just gives us an extra max move, which is really, really nice. Instant, guys, once again, standard instant. I am not making this Blaze. I'm changing it to Intimidate. I've done it in the past where I forgot to change that, but we're going Intimidate, guys. And see, it's a good thing I went through this team builder, because if I would have just jumped into the battle, we would have been in trouble. Anyways, Shuka Berry instant. I think it was just really nice out there. When I originally put the team, I had a Lecky in the draft, and I felt like Shuka Berry was better at that point, but I might switch to Safety Goggles. It does help the Sun matchup a little more, and I'm not super weak to ground. In fact, I'm going to make that change as well. I don't know, it just feels a little better right now. Just a little bit more standard. Like I said, if I find I have to switch into max... No. Like, if I find I have to switch into Max Quicks, then maybe Incineroar becomes Shuka Berry. And in fact, I might go back to it right now, because I just remembered my Calyrex matchup was why I did that. It was just nice to be on the field, have a Shuka Berry, and be able to parting shot off that Cali, which was the concept there. In fact, I'm going to go back to it. And that was kind of the thought process there, guys. Once again, just a standard spread. Absolutely nothing crazy. I don't want to take too many crazy spreads immediately. Like I said, like, fine-tuning EV spreads and fine-tuning like one move slot are just things that you can do as you practice with the team. But early builds like this, I just feel like are a lot of standard stuff, and then you fine-tune from there. Kartana, this slot I had a lot of trouble with. In fact, this is the slot I actually changed on the second version of the team. So I love how not everybody's going to get to see the second version of the team, because I'm not sure if I'm going to put the pace down or not. So anyways, that's fine. I don't know. That was just a random side thought. But Kartana is an interesting option, right? It's been picking up a lot in usage right now. The Assault Vest and Dynamax actually makes it pretty bulky on the special side. If you're a Kartana fan, I guess you know what that means. But nothing too crazy here. This was the special defense investment was for the Regielekis. So basically, if Regieleki, you can't live the Life Orb one 100% of the time from the Rising Voltage, but you can live Modest Magnet, which is this is what this is for. So maybe there's a team out there that runs Modest Magnet. It's unlikely, but it also does help the roll from Rising Voltage with the Life Orb anyways, so it's still worth it, I felt. Didn't think I needed the extra attack there, so Leaf Blade's still picking up the KOs it should be picking up and not really missing anything. You know, I say that and I'm going to miss a Kyogre on like 2 HP at some point. You know it's going to happen because it's generally a roll on Kyogres, but they end up running bulk anyways, and if they run bulk, it's not killing. So, I don't know, I just felt like this was perfectly fair. This is the team, like I said, we are going to be trying, guys. I am going to switch to the second team now really quick, just because I want to go over it a little bit. And yes, guys, that is an Aegislash. My first concept with this team was, how do I use a Yveltal and still deal with Zacian? Sorry, wrong, broken, restricted. Yeah, so my concept here is I can now freely lead a Yveltal, because with Aegislash, I have the freest switching in the world, right? This Aegislash will tank anything Zacian wants to go for. Behemoth Blade's not really a bother. Sacred Sword, obviously ineffective, and Play Rough, nothing, right? Really nice concept right there. I also had the concept of stopping Calyrex in Trick Room, or the Trick Room modes with the Mimikyus, because what I can do here is I can simply Shadow Sneak, and the max Yveltal, I may have to boost the special attack on the Yveltal to do this, but I can Shadow Sneak into max Darkness into that Mimikyu, and if it does pick up the knockout, I don't actually know that calc. In fact, let's see how much max Darkness does from this Yveltal right now. Why? Because we're right here. Special Life Orb set, change it to 116. And we go Mimikyu. I don't know how bulky they normally run. We'll go Trick Room Mimikyu. Dark Pulse is 91 to 108. You break the disguise, that's a pickoff. That picks it off. Now, granted, they could go more invested on the special side, which would be a little annoying, but at that point, it's still a roll. Like I said, I don't have a standard bulky special side Mimikyu to go off of, which would be something to work with, right? And if that becomes common, right, like if they become specially bulky, which I think they do start becoming at some point, right, you can boost this special attack there and actually just stop that Trick Room all in all, because they can't fake out the Dynamax Yveltal, they can't fake out the Ghost type in Aegislash, right? So that's something that I would consider. The only other change that I had to make on this team was I went back to AV Thundurus because I didn't need the AV on the Kartana slot, And I think that's it. Obviously, you switch this over. You, like I said, you go back to Sleep Powder here. You can go back to Helping Hand. Obviously, you can't get Protect here, and you got to make this Intimidate Incineroar. But other than that, guys, I think this team is something I do want to try out at some point. I actually built this one before the Kartana version, and then we were just like, me and my friend Gabe were like, maybe Kartana is just better. So we're gonna try the Kartana version today, guys. We're gonna get into some battles. But if you do want to try out the Aegislash version, that will also be in the description down below. I think it's a cool concept. I don't know if Aegislash is the right mon for it, but it does work. And guys, why is it that every time we build a team and use this and actually do a team building episode, the first match is Calyrex? Like, consistently. The first match consistently is Calyrex, which I think is pretty funny. And I think I'm okay to kind of go Kartana here. Right, like Kartana puts a lot of pressure on Grimmsnarl. Lando doesn't scare it immensely because I have the Steel Spike. The major concern is Dusclops. Now, I could Sleep Powder, but I think that might be a reason enough for them to bring Coco. I wonder if I can go Yveltal Kartana Groudon and have something like Thundy in the back. But I think I need Instant for the Trick Room because, like, I don't think I'm stopping Trick Room. Actually, I am stopping Trick Room, right? Because I'm just dropping Dusclops. Right? I'm dropping Dusclops day in, day out. So I am stopping Trick Room. So do I go Thundurus then? Or do I go Instant? Because Instant is also just a generally nice pick. The Thundurus helps a little more versus the Pelka, but I'm gonna go Instant just because comfort, you know? Sometimes you just gotta be comfortable with the Instant. And this, I don't think you could have asked for a better leap. Now what I'm gonna do is, I don't know, I'm assuming they want to put up the special defense. Right, the light screen, you would assume. I'm gonna max Darkness. I don't know the calc here, but a double up into Dusclops should pick up the knockout, you would assume. They're actually gonna fake out Kartana. Dusclops is not living this, right? This is Dark Aura Life Orb boosted. Yeah, beautiful. And this is why I wanted Life Orb Yveltal on this team, guys. It's just, everybody expects light screen. Like, they all run their calcs for AV. Like, that Dusclops probably lives if I'm AV Yveltal. Right? If I'm not hyper offensive like that, their AV, they live. And this is why Life Orb of Yveltal is just was a really nice concept that I wanted to try. Now, I have a few options here. I could simply just kill the Grimmsnarl, which I think I want to do. No, oh, you know what? You wait, and then you go from there, you know? You wait, and you go from there. So we'll take that W. Good start for sure with the Yveltal Kartana. Like, I think that worked out so well, right? And the Dusclops there really stood no chance, and that's why I think Mimic used a better Trick Room setter, personally. At least right now, Mimic used a better setter. But we'll take that W, we're not going to complain about it. I think that endgame's over anyways. Palkia probably maxes to match my Yveltal, but at that point I take out Grimmsnarl and I'm okay. So let's get into this one though. We're going to get Bad Turtle VGC. Alright, this is not, I don't know. Turtles are bad, I guess, guys. Turtles are bad. Now, is this going to be AV Solg? I would say no because it looks to be policy because obviously with the policy proc there on the Spectre. Now, how do I stop this? My best play to stop this would be to lead Venusaur. That way I have the Groudon switching in the back to pressure Sun. Now, I could just straight up lead Groudon Venusaur, but that just is reluctant to a Kyogre switch in immediately, and it just lets them know what I want to do. So I think I actually go Yveltal as well. I think it's a really interesting concept. In fact, I don't know what they do to stop that. Like, Venu Yveltal with Groudon in the back really covers most of my opponent's team. Now, they can go Tailwind, but I'm not concerned. Now, the question is, I think I'm maxing Venusaur in this match. So I think the concept here would don't bring Kartana. Now, the problem here is I don't want to bring Kartana, and I'm not bringing Thundurus because neither of them are my maxers. Right? Now, because of that, do I want to go Instant? Like, is Instant still just the right play? In front of Kyogre, generally not. I'm going to bring Kartana because I think Kartana in front of Ogre late game is still an option despite not being able to max it. So they go for this, which I'm okay with personally. The max, or the near max speed on Yveltal actually outpaces Solgaleo as well. So I have a free, huge chunk of damage into that slot. Now, are they really going to give it to me though? You know what I mean? Are they really going to give me that damage? But what's the switch in? You know, I don't see a switch in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to Sleep Powder the Instant. If they're safety goggles, they're safety goggles. Congratulations. And I'm going to drop a Darkness into the Solgaleo. I don't know this calc. Maybe I should have considered this before I just dropped. Yeah, no. Okay. I should have considered that before I just dropped the attack on. But it actually is policy. Okay, which we were expecting. But Sleep Header into the instant. I do get it off. No berry. Steel Spike into the Sash of Venusaur. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is a pretty solid position. This Solgaleo doesn't want to be on the field right now. I'm going to hit the Solgaleo anyways because I can't really justify ignoring it. So I'm going to Earth Power over here and just Darkness into it again. Yeah, I could have Airstreamed the Incineroar right there. Would have been a cool option, but I didn't see a reason to risk the fact that Solgaleo might just try, you know? It might have taken that risk to get the attack off there, but we're just going to Earth Power again. I don't need to Airstream here because their back mons don't really scare me all that much. So I get a free Darkness Earth Power, and that should be 2 knockouts unless they try to make a pivot. That's a good pivot. That's a good pivot, but I'm still getting the Solgaleo. They have a sleeping Incineroar. I'm kind of liking this, guys, and this is kind of sad. Earth Power, like, I don't know. I didn't expect this team to actually kind of function the way it has, but I think we got 2 good matchups. So we also had a really good turn on that Dusclops turn 1 in that first game. But see, I do have Weather Ball right now. I can also switch the weather. Now, I don't know if this is max speed, modest Kyogre, or any sort of thing like that. But I think my best course of action is probably bring Groudon in. It's useless at this point. Okay, well, not useless, but it's less needed at this point. And I'm going to Oblivion Wing the Torn to get some health back. Tailwind goes up. I wasn't sure if they were going to be modest or not. Yveltal's going to tank that. Like I said, Groudon will tank that as well. And big Oblivion Wing, get all that health back right now. And this is a very nice spot. What I have to do now is find a way to slow down Tailwind. This is where Snarl would be nice. I think I want a Heat Wave though, just because it guarantees I get the Torn off the field. Protect Groudon Heat Wave makes a lot of sense. The only way it doesn't make sense is if they go for something like a... In fact, I think I guarantee I want to guarantee Torn, because they could Rain Dance here. And that's something I want to consider. So I want to guarantee that I get Torn. Heat Wave is risking a miss for a potential minimal damage into Kyogre, right? So we're actually going to get the Torn. Okay, that's fine. That's actually better for me. I don't really get that play. Like, I guess they're just trying to preserve the rain. But I don't understand that all that much at all. I'm going to Rock Slide, and I think I just simply double the Torn here. Right? Yeah, that's fine. Like, especially if they don't wake up. But they do wake up, they're going to get a Fake Out of Yveltal. I'm okay with that. Rock Slide chip is never a bad thing. I think we're in a pretty decent spot. We see no leftovers on that Kyogre, which is good to see. Right? Yeah, no leftovers. Okay. So, pivoting out of this becomes questionable. I don't think it's terrible. But I do think it's questionable. Right? They have Tailwind for 1 more turn, and they still have that Torn in the back, which is what I was trying to avoid. I wanted that Torn gone, so very well played to them. Groudon, of course, can't protect right here. I think Yveltal just wants to go Oblivion Wing into that instant slot. And I think if they give me the Blades, I take it. Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I do die. Okay. That's bad. That is very bad. That is very not good. That is very not good. So now they kind of have to, they have to Tailwind, right? Because they need their Kyogre to outpace me. So I lose Venusaur here. The question becomes, can Kartana win this? Kartana cannot win this. I died to... Oh, it was a crit. I was about to say, I'm AV. So do I win that though? I don't think so, like ever. Right? Because I kill Kyogre, instant comes in, Fake Out Hurricane, right? They did a very good job of preserving their Tailwind there at the end. That was just very well played on their end to pivot out of that. I think I misplayed a few times, but I also didn't think Yveltal was going to take 81% from a Water Spout there. So that's probably just me not knowing calcs with this team, but I don't think that's really the team's fault. I think that's just me misplaying that endgame, but that was a good match. This is definitely a matchup I want to have. Now, I wish I had an Ice type anywhere on this team, because like it would shred the Lando and the Venusaur and the Torn. But the Torn is interesting. Normally you see Thundy on a team like this, but So we go, like, late game Groudon is still really good here, but I have to be scared of this Venusaur. Now, I could lead my own Venusaur, which is probably just the correct play. But if I lead my own Venusaur into Torn, I'm not gaining anything. And I think this is where things become difficult with this team. Right? Is the Weather Wars. And it always has been. And it's just probably me being unfamiliar with them. I feel like I could, like, if I, like, solve this team, I feel like I would know these matchups, you know? But let's go, Thundy's also interesting, right? Like, I am Lumberry. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna go Thundy. Probably gonna max the Thundy, right? So I think we have Groudon in the back for sure. I think, is Yveltal worth it as a lead? What if I went Thundy Venu with Groudon in the back? That gives me options. And then Instant is nice. In fact, I like Instant more. So, the concept here is basically Thundy Venusaur. I'm not sure if my opponent timed out or not. We'll see what happens on their lead. That looks like a timeout, you know? Just seeing that, I don't know why they lead this here. And the questionable part is I still have to make the right play. I think the best play here is get Groudon in. And because I'm Focus Sash, I hit the Kyogre slot and get my Vine Lash up. See what I mean? I should have just hit the Zacian. Zacian might protect though. Right? Zacian could protect. It does. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with this. I get Vines up. This is okay. Right? Vines are up. Getting chip damage up. I pivot out of Groudon right now. I go into Incineroar. Right now you don't outpace, so you have to Tailwind. And Max Flare. I'm either getting to Flare into Zacian, or Zacian's going to switch out. I think they're going to try and stay in and not expect me to be Focus Sashed. Nope, they're going to go into Kyogre, but I get a big geyser there anyways. Maybe perhaps the better play was to hit the Torn. Oh, they're going to just stay in. Alright. No Tailwind for my opponent. So now I get free Fake Out on the Torn. And we're stopping Tailwind at that point. And I think with max speed Venusaur, I gamble on the fact that I'm faster here. I think I make that gamble, right? Because this guarantees they don't get Tailwind up. Am I faster? I am not faster. So Max Guard may have been the better play. But I mean, at this point, they have no Tailwind. I have Groudon on the field. I also have Thundurus to just waltz on in. You know? The question is, the Zacian becomes the problem. Right? Zacian becomes the problem regardless of what I switch in here. Because I want to bring Groudon in. But then Zacian plus Kyogre threatens me so much. We get to Defiant. They actually went Landorus, which, I mean, they still have their Dynamax, so I respect that. This is actually going to be really close. I'm going to try and get a parting shot off here. This is where Shuka Berry could help me. I think we might get Rockfalled, and Kyogre could protect here. But seeing Kyogre be faster now, we don't know if it's Scarfed. Is it Scarfed Ice Beam? Tough to say. I could also Fly. Fly is also a very interesting option here to dodge a Rockfall. But I also feel like with a Zacian in the back, they're going to want to preserve. They don't care about the Thundy. So I'm going to go free Wild Charge. See if I get the Ogre down. Or get any sort of damage whatsoever into it. That's the max. There's the Ice Beam. They are indeed Scarfed. Thundy's going to take that. Thundy gets the Wild Charge. Kills off Kyogre. And this is probably a Max Quake. Shuka Berry Instant coming in clutch right here. Going to be able to tank that. Life Orb. That looks like Life Orb damage. It is. And we get a parting shot. So this is... I think this is the best endgame we could have put ourselves into. Obviously, I don't think it's a good endgame. But it is the best endgame we could have put ourselves into. I SD and I fake out Zacian. And I have to hope Groudon can tank attacks. Right? I think I have to. Or do I say, hey, this Zacian is not going to protect and I just P-Blades and take it out right now? I think Zacian has to protect, though. Yeah, I think Zacian had to. I have to go for the Fake Out into it anyways to cover that. So they're going to Quake. They're actually going to leave the Instant on the field. And -2 Lando's not doing a whole lot of damage. Bulk Up would be cool on Groudon right here in this one's position. But I don't think it's worth it, right? Behemoth Blade just going to proc Berry. Groudon will be able to take it. I Blades anyways because I have to get rid of the Zacian and I double it. They could potentially try and substitute, which would be a cool option for them. They're just going to actually kill the Instant, which is fair. I have to hit this Blade. And this is why I hate Groudon. Thank you, Groudon. Groudon is finally good, guys. Groudon is finally good. They come out of max right now, and I just start spamming Rock Slide. There's no reason for me not to. Earthquake does not pick up that knockout. They get Life Orb chip. We get that +2 Rock Slide. Gonna finish things nice and easy. Groudon is good, guys. And I'm surprised they let me take. I really am surprised that they let me take the Kyogre there. Like, I don't know. If they knew I had Groudon in the back. When you play Weather Wars, it's all about the weather, right? And when I have Incin, I don't know. They must have just assumed Ice Beam was killing Thundy, right? They must have just assumed they were picking up Thundy with that Ice Beam. That's the only reason I ever see that play being making sense for my opponent there. But it's fine. Okay. Venusaur really good here if we can get through the Zapdos. So that makes the thing interesting. So Thundy's okay here. It's not great. I think Yveltal's nice. Groudon is also nice. The question is, I gotta break Zapdos, and this team seemingly can't do that, which is why I need Thundurus. Yeah, Zapdos is a problem. I wonder how we adapt for that, though. I guess Thundurus is still decent versus it, but like I don't want to bring Thundy to this. And maybe that's just me being bad. Maybe I should just bring Thundy into this. But I don't think it really helps. Yveltal doesn't really want to come either. Like, Zapdos is going to be the lead, and I can't do anything about that, you know? I'm going to go Incin, Thundy, Venudon, I think. Incin, Thundy, Don. Yeah, I think Incin, Thundy. I think this works. There's the Zapdos. You knew it was coming. Right? You knew the Zapdos was going to hit the field here. What I have to do is just hinder it to the best of my ability. I'm going to Parting Shot. I'm going to Protect because I have it on Thundurus. I want to save my max right now for the Venusaur anyways. So I think slowing this down is probably for the best. And if we can if we get Groudon on the field before they get Kyogre, we actually get a free Rock Fall into the Zapdos. And at that point, with Venu in the back, like with Venu and Thundy, we still have enough for Kyogre, right? We don't need to keep the weather. As much as it would be nice to, I can actually gamble and just drop the Zapdos, you know? Which could definitely be something to consider. But we shall see. They're actually going to hard pivot into Zacian, so this is going to work out. Reflect. Fake Out. I'm okay with that. I don't think we could have asked for a better turn. Now, seeing Fake Out on Grim, this is a free Groudon switch in. I put too much pressure. Or do I put more pressure on with Venu? See, now Groudon is cool here because I put so much pressure on, but then they just pivot into Ogre, right? And then I'm in trouble. Now, do I go Groudon and call the fact that they're going to do that? And you know what? I like that bait better. Right? You know they want to bring Ogre on the field. So I call that, and I bring Venusaur on the field to preserve the weather. And now the question is, what do I want to do with Thundy? I still don't want to max this slot right now. I think Brick Break could be cool because it will just force the screen away. And I think that's probably the best bet. There's the Zapdos back on the field, though, which is okay. Venusaur's coming in. I don't mind this turn. You got to assume Zapdos is going to Dynamax here, though, no? You've got to assume this is where the Zapdos maxes. And if that's the case, I think this is where I max the Thundy. I don't want to max Thundy in this matchup, but I think the way this game is gone, it kind of needs to be done. Although I get the Sleep Powder into Zapdos, but do they switch in Rain? I think I make the safe play. Like, this is a decent play, right? Yeah, this is a pretty decent play. They max Zapdos because they want to get the Airstream on the Ogre. Yep. Now, as long as they're not like safety goggles, this is okay. That's some decent damage into Zapdos as well. Airstream goes into Venu. Like I said, I'm Sash. Are you Life Orb? They are not Life Orb. Therefore, they're probably goggles anyways. So I'm not too concerned about that miss. It's a little less fortunate. But I pivot Groudon in right now, and I go Max Lightning and try to drop the Ogre. I gotta keep my Thundurus alive. That's what needs to happen right now. So this Ogre needs to be pressured. The endgame versus Zapdos, if I keep Groudon, is nice, but I don't think there's any world in which I'm getting out of this with a Groudon. I don't think there's any endgame in which I get out of this with a Groudon, and I think that's... maybe there is an endgame in which I get out of this with a Groudon. There is no endgame in which I get out of this with a Groudon. Never mind. Citrus Berry, actually, maybe I do. Anyways, Max Lightning goes into Grim. Unfortunately, not enough to pick up the knockout now. I pivot back into Venusaur here. Do I take the sack or just let Instant eat it? I let Instant eat it, I think. They're obviously getting speed control up. I'm going to go for the Max Lightning into this Zapdos. I'm already slower than everything anyways. I could go for an Airstream, I guess. But I think getting the damage on Zapdos is more important here. Because Zapdos is the threat. It's the only thing on the field that's actually boosted. Airstream, Instant, actually going to take that very well. A lot better than I was expecting. And Max Lightning going to go out into Zapdos for some tip. Okay. I think we can maneuver this. Probably not, like, perfectly, but I think Fake Out Zapdos, Brick Break Grim really covers a lot. The worst case scenario here, I get static. If I start taking pieces, Groudon Venu can actually still win this endgame. Zacian comes in, that's fine. I get the free Fake Out on Zapdos. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and protect. I break your screen, which is nice. Very smart of their end to preserve pieces. I think that's an underrated trait right now in Weather Wars, like we were talking about last. Like we saw that in the first game I lost today, right? There was just that Weather War, and they did a very good job of preserving their pieces to win that Weather War in the end game. And my last opponent, of course, didn't do quite as well with that. But now here's the thing, right? I think they double Thundurus. And if they double Thundurus, I get the Flare Blitz into Zacian, I take the knockout. And if they don't, well then I go for that. I do think Thundurus gets doubled here. No. Okay. I'm okay with that. Wild Charge takes down Zapdos. Cool. Thundy's alive. I go Venusaur because if they hard switch Kyogre, well then I get to switch Sun in. And if they go Grimmsnarl, Venusaur is still the right play. This is a game right here. Groudon arguably would have been better, but we know they have Fake Out, right? I think they Fake Out the Venu and just attack the Thundy. But they've also seen Protect on Thundy, right? So this is actually, I think, game over? No, maybe not. Hold up. I go Groudon and I Protect. I think that's my best play. Their best play to counteract this is probably double the Venusaur slot, because Venu doesn't normally have Protect, right? But they also can't risk, they have to Fake Out Venu, right? I think they Fake Out Venu and kill Thundy. I don't know, that's just to me what I would expect here. But that is just a very good play right there. That is solid. And sub, yeah, this is the problem. Like, Groudon is the losing Mon in the Weather War, you know? And because I didn't Airstream, I'm actually gonna lose this one here, I think. Unless there's some sort of crazy shenanigan I can somehow manipulate here, but I think this one's over. Right? I need to somehow get Sun and Venu on the field, and it just doesn't happen. Because it's a free Behemoth Blade water move right now. And I never get on the field with Venusaur and Groudon in the Sun. There's no world in which I do, unless I get to double protect and dodge an O-Pulse. Or just dodge an O-Pulse in general. It should be an Ice Beam or anything that wouldn't miss. But they Water Spout. Very smart play. Knowing their Kyogre would be faster there. And like I said, I can't win this now, guys. They've got a Zacian behind a sub. I'm not getting multiple attacks into it. So we're going to take the L. But that was just well played. I considered that they would hard switch Venu in too. I considered them that they would hard switch the Ogre in. I did consider it, and I should have called it. The way they were playing, I could have called that, but like, I don't know. It was best of one. I didn't want to throw the game away by not making the right play there, you know. But it is what it is. It's all good, all good. I think the team was fun, guys. One more time, we're gonna throw the team up real quick. I will get out of here. Video has dragged on a little longer than I wanted, but that's all right. This is the 8/ version, guys. I think it's good, but I'm honestly really enjoying. And I mean really enjoying the Kartana version right now. My computer is lagging. We're just gonna forget about that. Both paste guys will be in the description down below. If anybody did make it to this point, my plan right now is probably team building sessions like this on Mondays, and then Wednesdays and Fridays will be actual in-game footage on ladder matches and such, and then we'll sprinkle in some other videos in there as well. But that's my plan right now if anybody did make it this far. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys do enjoy this kind of content, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And with that, I will get out of here and stop rambling now, so I'll catch you guys in another video.